So hello all and welcome. And I am the realist philosopher, also known in some circles as the bachelor philosopher, or just plain the realist, because let's face it, if you're a realist in this day and age, you're also going to be a bachelor. If you're a man, that is. So how y'all doing today? Hope you're all doing good, fine, and well. So I'm a little behind on the reporting of certain articles and stories I would usually report on in a timely manner. And a while back, I took some months off of content creation, so I missed some of these stories by Jana or Jana. I don't know how you pronounce her name. Don't care. I'm using Jana if it's wrong. Oh well. She's a semi-popular online dating influencer. I'm not going to call her a dating expert because she's no such thing. And coach would imply that she's actually giving sound, good, valid advice. She's not doing that either. No, she's a dating influencer. She influences women in a very negative way. She seems to lead her life in such a way that she, on purpose, has negative outcomes. She goes into things with the wrong mindset, does things in all the wrong ways, does all the wrong things, so she can have this horrible experience that she then uses as fodder for her online articles that are essentially put online by various rags like the Daily Mail and such. Anyway, in this one, that is from way earlier this year, but it's still relevant. I still wanted to talk about it because it gives a woman's insight into why they like bad boys. Now, we all know why women like bad boys. They're uncertain, they're not reliable, they leave her with a sense of uncertainty. They treat women like crap, or at least with neglect. They act like they don't care. They're generally pretty good-looking guys, and they know they can get away with this type of behavior, and they just leave the woman wanting more, yo. Yeah, it's that roller coaster ride of emotions. But let's see what Jana thinks about why her and her female friends like bad boys. Until they get old, of course, and lose their looks and can't really draw too many of them anymore, even for the pump and dump. So they eventually settle for the, nice guy. So let's get into it, shall we? Should be a fun ride. From the New York Post. Yeah, another rag that carries her work. This is how Jana continues to live her Sex in the City lifestyle. Yo. Yeah. And get gassed up by a bunch of random simpy dudes telling her how hot she is, and a bunch of female fans on her various social media sites like Instagram and Twitter and such, telling her how great she is. Yeah. Most women are not going to have this kind of ready validation and approval in this large a quantity, although they still do have a ready supply of it in many cases via, apps like Twitter and, Bumble and Hinge, all those horrible dating sites that give women quick and easy validation and approval. So, from Jana Hawking, we're going to hear why she thinks women like bad boys. And we're going to see how right she gets it or how wrong she gets it. So, question. Why is sex with the wrong guy always the hottest kind of sex? So, notice she doesn't say, why are relationships with the wrong kind of guys always the best relationships? You notice that? Yeah, because all Jana cares about is sex, because she's kind of given up on the possibility of an actual long-term relationship at her age. In for a penny, in for a pound. It would be further, there's no going back in truth. So, she's got no choice but to stay on her meaningless, legacy-lacking course that leads nowhere. No fulfillment, no true happiness, no legacy. But hey, the most I can hope for is, some good sex. The guy who sees me as nothing more than a backup broad, side chick. So, might as well Go all in. It's the only thing stopping me from offing myself. So, seriously, it was a topic that came up in conversation with my girlfriends. Yeah, all sitting around gaslighting each other and how great their lives are. Meanwhile, they got a bunch of cats at home, all of them, and lots and lots of boxed wine. The other night over drinks, which I'm sure you ladies have a lot of during the day, after work, in the morning, drinking your mimosas for breakfast, your Bloody Marys for lunch, your hard liquor for dinner, or your wine. Oh, okay, full disclosure, it was Valentine's night. Did you have a date, Jana? Did you have yourself a date? No, Valentine's night is for couples, right? People who are actually in long-term relationships to go out and for a woman, she gets simped on by her dude, and for the dude, well, he's just there as an accessory. I think you can see how I feel about Valentine's Day. And we had met for a post-work cocktail. See, I called it. Yeah, I bet she has post-work cocktails every day, even on the day she doesn't have work. You see, we're all single. Yes, we all got together and, gassed each other up on Valentine's night and told each other that we didn't need a boyfriend, we didn't need a relationship, we don't need a commitment from a man. We're enough for each other. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Misery loves company. So we're all single. Yeah, we all know, Jana. Yeah, and we're not surprised. And all have situationships. Oh, is that what they're calling it now? Yeah, situationship. Yeah, because you can't get an actual relationship, right? With guys, we know don't make good partners. Well, that's okay because they're not going to be your partner. You think there's maybe, possibly, potential there for them to be a partner, but they'll never wife you up. They'll never fiance you up. They'll never even girlfriend you up. You are just a side piece. And maybe they'll lead you on into believing you are their girlfriend, but no. They got a half a dozen other chicks that they're also seeing, who they also, gaslit into believing that they're his girlfriend also. And I'm sure she's probably well aware. But, as we all know, chicks are willing to share a high enough value dude, especially when they're 40s. When they're in their 40s, like Jana, whatever, and they have very few options. You know the type. They're not interested in commitment. No. That's not necessarily true, Jana. They're just not interested in commitment with you. Always hot and cold, which is why you like them so much. They're unpredictable. With their attention, and have questionable track records. Right, but you do know that other chicks like them. A lot. And that they themselves have a lot of experience. And since you use sex like other people use heroin, to cope and deal with the misery and pain of your life, that's all you care about, right? Yeah, they got questionable track records, but that's a positive in your eyes, right, Jana? And occasionally criminal records, so much the better, right? But we can't seem to get out of it because our love lives have never been hotter. I don't know, isn't it gonna leave you broke and impoverished eventually? Because you only have so much money. And in the case of a woman, you only have so much value. Of course, you pretty much gave away any real value you have as wife material a long time ago, probably when you hit body 101. well before that, let's be honest. So, why not give it away, right? Has no value. Yeah, sex lives have never been hotter. And what do you do after the sex is over, Jana, whatever? What do you do then? What do you do when the high wears off, right? What do you do when the dragon comes back to Earth, right? And you can no longer chase it, huh? What do you do then? What do you do when the isolation and the meaninglessness, the nihilistic path that you followed begins to rear its ugly head back up again and you can no longer hide from it? What do you do when the high is gone and you have nothing to distract you, keep you from seeing the emptiness of your existence? I go get high again, i.e. find myself another chick. What are you going to do when they dry up? Which will be when you dry up, huh? Which isn't that far away. Yeah, there's Jana. Yeah. Already looking pretty hippie. Pretty rectangular. Not too curvy no more there, Jana. It feels a bit naughty. It's experimental because we know it's not going to last. But then why do it? I don't get this. If it's not going to last, what's the point? It feels good. Aha. Therefore, we aren't worried about coming across as wife material. Well, good, because you could never come across as wife material because you're not wife material. So that's convenient. And we can't be 100% sure we're going to do it again, so it's slightly addictive. See? This woman's an open book to me, yo. She's an open book to most men, too. Yeah. Good Lord. Just thinking about it makes me hot under the collar. Well, it's only doing it for you, not me. I'm getting cold under the collar looking at you, honey. So here's another question for you. Is sex with someone who is not the one a bad thing? Yes. Yes. Because the sex is supposed to lead to or reinforce the meaningful bond between two people. If there's no bond, what's the point? If you're not trying to create a bond, what's the point? If you're not trying to create kids, what's the point? And if you're beyond the age of creating kids, at the very least, the joining of a man and a woman is supposed to be to reaffirm connection, love based on shared virtues and values. If you're just doing it for doing its sake, yeah, that's bad. Any other questions, Jana, Jana, whatever? I've really been pondering it since our cocktail-filled chat. What was that, 5 minutes ago? Has there been a time in the past 3 years that you haven't been engaged in a cocktail-filled chat during your waking hours? I'd be surprised if there wasn't. And I've come to the conclusion that it could actually be a blessing in disguise. Well, of course you have. It's the only way you can cope. So there's Jana. Just a random picture. I guess she took of herself. Let me see. Okay, another selfie. She's big on selfies. Like all these perpetually single 40-year-old cat lady boxed wine loving broads. And of course, as you can see, she's sucking down an alcoholic beverage. And I'm pretty sure that is representative of any time during her day that you might find her in a place where she can suck one of those down. A beverage, that is. Of course, I'm sure she finds time to suck down other things, if you know what I mean, as often as possible. Put aside the horrible side effect known as catching the feels. Well, you like that part too. Isn't that the best part, Jana? Right. And what you're left with is a fire emoji-filled love life. Really? Really, Jana? I don't know. It sounds like you're trying to convince yourself and everybody else. And with the amount of work and effort you're putting into that convincing, I don't believe it. By the way, I've been down this path myself, and I can tell you that you're 100% wrong. But hey, I'm not as emotional as a woman, so maybe it's doing something for you that it's not doing for me. Considering that you ladies are far more likely to form bonds and feel pain when they're broken, though I kind of doubt it. Anyway, and we all know the serotonin released after a good romp in the hay can last a full 24 hours, so it's like a drug. So you're a drug addict. Okay. Is that a good thing? I mean, you're dependent on constant sex with strangers, so you're extremely loose. I can't imagine what this chick's body count must be. Good Lord. So forget green juices and a good gym session. I think you forgot them long ago, Jana. I'm looking at you, and it don't look like you've been to the gym in a long time. I'll take the wrong man and a cheeky night, thanks. Right, wrong man. Yeah. So she willingly enters into relationships with guys that she knows are not relationship material, and she's okay with that because she's not looking for that because she knows she can't get it. Right? Yeah. So, I say this with full knowledge of someone who has found themselves in quite the bad boy predicament. That's not going to last, Jana, believe me. Well, not necessarily bad boy, but definitely not the right boy for me. I got news for you, Jana. The right boy for you, by your own definition, is somebody you can never get. Okay? He's got too many options, yo. I mean, at this point, you're probably banging the Mimbo hot pool boy at this point just to get your fees and your validation fix for the day. Hell, probably for just a few hours. After a whopper of a fight last year, we made up after weeks of not talking. Is that the last time you tried to have a normal relationship? And of course it failed because, it's you. And I tell you, with my hand on my heart, the makeup session was worth every second of the anxiety-ridden few months we didn't talk. So, your life was anxiety-ridden, and I don't know how being anxiety-ridden for months can be a good thing. So, you were miserable for months, and then you had S with the guy, and then it was worth it. So, you're a loser. You don't have a life. You're a loser. A lot of people won't call women losers. They don't get called losers because there's too many simps and wimps out there that essentially don't want to hold a woman to task, or they don't want to qualify what actually makes a woman a loser. This is what makes you a loser. You are miserable for months because some guy has left you hanging, then he comes back into your life after a fight, which you probably started for drama's sake because you got nothing else going on, and then you bang and clang, and you're like, months of misery was worth a night of pleasure. You are a loser. So, what are the benefits? She just said it. Intense pleasure for 5 minutes. Wow. Wow, that's pathetic. I've got no meaning. I've got no purpose. I certainly have no legacy. I'll never have a legacy because all my eggs are gone. But at the very least, I had some fun time for 5 minutes in 3 months. Well, that's great, Jana. So, for one, it sure makes you feel alive for a few minutes. Yeah. You're doing something you shouldn't be, which also feels a bit edgy. So let me get this straight. You purposely spent your 20s and your 30s, the years that you could have spent cashing in your chips, having a family, getting with the right guy, forming something valuable, a relationship that had meaning, that you invested with, and that stood the test of time. And you could have kids that were in college right now. You could be looking forward to grandkids in the near future. Real legacy, real purpose. And you gave all that up for some pleasure for 5 minutes, feeling alive for an hour, instead of feeling alive for 20 years. Okay. Instead of falling for a normal guy, what does that mean, normal? You mean a guy that has his stuff together, maybe doesn't give you the pitter-patters, but you could share a meaningful life with? Well, again, she couldn't get with a guy like that because she has no virtues and no values. She never spent any time developing them because I'm pretty sure she was very attractive in her 20s and 30s, and so she had no real need to develop a personality or any character traits that had any real value. She never really felt the need to develop any virtues or appreciations for said virtues, let alone values that, had any real application or appreciation of anything outside of sexual pleasure, so a normal guy wasn't an option for you. With a normal job on normal dates, you're stepping outside your comfort zone, and life is throwing plot twists, left, right, and center. Okay. Is that why women date the bad boy? Will she's still being very general and vague. She doesn't want to get into specifics, of course not, because if she gets into too many specifics, that's too many points. Too many points that people could call her to task on, criticize with, disagree on with her. She tries to keep it vague and general, so she's challenged less. Will he call again? Who knows? How exciting! Yeah, that's so exciting. And so much better than being in the delivery room when your first kid pops out from between those legs of yours. No. You'd rather open those legs up for countless strangers instead and call that exciting. Yes, I know, toxic, but nevertheless exciting. Yeah, sounds like cope to me, honey, at this point. We feel comfortable enough to experiment. You sound like a drug addict. Knowing We won't be judged. That's part of the problem. Stigma's gone from Western culture. Degeneracy has moved in. Nobody's stigmatizing this very bad behavior that is extremely toxic and detrimental to your well-being. So nobody's judging me. Let's do whatever we want. And if we are, who cares? Well, obviously you don't care. You literally do not care. You don't give a goddamn, do you, honey? Part of the problem, it's not going anywhere. Neither is your life. You're in a state of arrested development, honey. The benefit of experimenting in the bedroom is you find out what you like. I'm confused. Couldn't you find that out with a single dude? I mean, let's be honest, Jana, whatever your name is. A rod is a rod is a rod. Is a C is a C is a C. They're very similar. There's some variation in diameter, length, but unless we're talking like a micro deal, not a lot of variation, straight, curved, wide, long, not wide. You couldn't have that with just one person? And by the way, that one person with you two being together so much, wouldn't that make the S better because you both are learning more and more about what the other likes? And in addition, that long-term investment, that pair bond, makes the S even better still, in addition to knowing what the other likes? I don't know. I never had that. I never had the right values to pursue such a relationship, and I never developed the virtues that would lead a man to want me for that kind of relationship. Oh, I see. And you can take that into your next healthier relationship. Win-win. What healthy relationships have you had, Jana, whatever? I'm pretty sure if you'd have had them, we'd be hearing about them in your horrible drivel articles. They haven't existed. Healthy relationships. You're not a healthy person. So how are you going to have healthy relationships, Jana? Could you explain that? Nah. They remind you how to have fun with no expectations. How is that a good thing? I mean, you see no future with these people, but you're continuing to see them and give away what is supposed to have value to the point where it has no value or meaning, and nothing meaningful can be built upon the act, even though the act itself is simply meant to motivate you, get you into a position, a situation. Position might have been the wrong word. You've been in too many positions, Jana. Into a situation where you actually are building meaning and value. They teach you to never rely on a man. What? Oh, God forbid. God forbid I ever rely on somebody else, even though the systems in Western countries are set up in such a way that if I do get into a committed long-term, dare I say, legalized contractual relationship with a man, i.e. a government-endorsed, sanctified marriage, which is a bunch of BS, that the state has my back. They're going to give me child support if we have kids. They're going to probably give me alimony even if we don't have kids. Regardless of how long we've been married. In some cases, you have to be married a minimum amount of time. But I think in a lot of cases, I know here in America, they'll give you alimony in some cases for as long as you were married. If it's over 10 years in many states, you'll get alimony for life. Unless you get remarried. So those women, of course, never get remarried. Or you'll get it for the amount of time you've been together. I know in some places, it's like half the amount of time you've been together, unless it's over 10 years, and then it's lifetime or something. So they got you back. Plus, you're going to get half of all the marital assets. So where's this relying on a man? Well, that stuff won't last forever. I gotta get me an education, while I'm still young and energetic. So, if he does dump me, I'll have skills and education to fall back on. Which, when you think about it, ain't real valuable if you're like 30 plus years old and you're just entering the workforce after you got married at 20 or 21 or 22. So, yeah. So just wait, right? Until you're too old to have kids, and therefore you pretty much priced yourself out of the market. You waited too long. You no longer have any chips to cash in. Brilliant strategy! And by the way, you're still relying on a man, Jana, in many cases. Men pay 85% of all the taxes. Meanwhile, women pay like 15%. So the vast majority of women pay no taxes. They are not a positive on the system. They take more out than they put in, and meanwhile, men put more in than they take out. They build everything. They maintain all the roads that you drive on. They grow all the food that you eat. They maintain the electrical grid that you enjoy. Everything that allows you to live your life, from your car to the fuel in that car, to the roads you drive on, to all of the wonderful first world accoutrements that you enjoy come from men. So you're still relying on men. No matter what you do, you can't escape it. So you might as well actually be honest with yourself that you need to rely on a man, and get with a man when you still can, one that you can build a life with. For all your needs, but you are reliant on men for all your needs. And are a great time filler until the right person comes along. What right person, Jana? You're over 40. There is no right person for you anymore. You have no options. The only thing you can do is continue to ride the CC until you're dead. And I have no doubt that even when you're 60, 65, 70 years old, you're going to be able to find some older or maybe geriatric dude of the same age who'll hit it and quit it. You'll be the life of the nursing home. But he's still not going to wife you up. You're still not going to have kids. And at that age, you should have grandkids. You're still not going to have those. And you're going to die alone. That's what chasing pleasure for pleasure's sake gets you. You would think you would realize that when you look at one of these homeless druggies sitting there shooting himself up with heroin, thanks to liberal laws that you probably endorsed. Plus, I also find that these guys are always keen for sex, which is great for your libido. That's like saying eating more is great for your appetite. Oy vey. Yeah, I'm sure that feeding you hedonistic pleasures will just make you want more of the same, because you essentially are eventually going to become an addict. I don't know how that's a good thing. I'm not sure how that's a good thing, Jana, but hey, okay. And let's not forget, it gives us some brilliant blush-inducing stories, which is really what all this is about, right? That's how you justify your horrible hedonistic lifestyle, because it makes you money. It gives you fodder for this drivel that you write. There are places like the New York Post and the Daily Mail buy from you and then publish to make other women think that they can have this lifestyle too, just like Sex in the City. Meanwhile, you're ruining the lives of countless women by leading them to believe that they're going to get some kind of fulfillment out of this lifestyle. You're romanticizing drug addiction. You're romanticizing hedonism. You're romanticizing a 100% purely materialistic lifestyle over some kind of purpose and fulfillment and meaning and legacy. And you're leading other women down this same path. I'd be fine if you sold your stories as dime novel equivalent to 18th century, 19th century dime novel garbage, fantasy, sci-fi, but you sell this crap as some kind of reality that women can use to improve their lives. Indeed, misery loves company. Yeah, there's some blush-inducing stories to recall when you're old and gray. Well, you're going to have something to do when you're old and gray, ain't you? Because you got no grandkids to look after, do you? And you have no husband to look after, or who will look after you, do you? The good news is this bad boy face usually wears off. Does it, Jana? 40 plus years old? Still chasing the dragon? You take them off the pedestal they so clearly don't belong on, and yet you are continuing to put them on the pedestal and tell other women to do the same and start to appreciate the good boys. It's a little late, Jana. 90% of your eggs were dead at 30. Now you're over 40. Something like 98, 99% are dead. Unless you froze some eggs about 15 years ago and want to spend about 150 grand on in vitro fertilization, you ain't drawing no dudes that are going to wife you up. Simp or otherwise. Because they know biology unlike you, apparently. You actually long for a nice date with a guy who adores you. Yeah, but are you going to get with a guy like that? We know you're not, Jana. We know that's not going to happen. We know that as you chicks get older, you gaslight yourselves into believing that you actually go up in value because you rate yourselves based on the way women rate men's value, because you believe in this equality that tends to align with what men want from women, and you think that men work in the exact same way. Ooh, I've got all this value. I make a lot of money. I have a great career. Men don't care about that stuff. So, my advice. Oh, her advice. Oh, God. Yeah. This is the last person you should take advice from. If you choose to find yourself a bad boy, is this. Don't get pregnant with them. Well, in a lot of cases, Jana, that's not really a choice because, you broads that chase the dragon, you want that fix, right? You're not making sure if that needle is dirty or not. No, you're sharing needles. You're getting that heroin from wherever you can. You're not testing it beforehand to see how pure it is and how much crap is in it, how dirty it is. No, I just need that fix now. Yeah. Drug addicts like you aren't too careful, Jana. Always wear a condom. I assume she's talking to men out there. Yeah. Well, women have a lot more forms of birth control than men, and they're a lot more reliable than condoms. And know that the relationship has a time limit, But of course, put the onus on men, right? Yeah. It takes a woman opening her legs, and she controls access to sex, but she only puts an onus on a man, not a woman, even though there's like 18, 19, 20 plus forms of birth control at this point for women that are more reliable than a condom. Yeah. Yeah, wear a condom, guys. Yeah, she wants you to do that. So that if he's got a lot of money and he's dumb enough to just throw it in the hotel garbage can, or worse yet, her garbage can, she can get that man juice out of there and with a turkey baster impregnate herself and get child support for 18 years. And the relationship has a time limit. You don't seem to know that, Jana. Yeah. Again, men are not getting with you for a relationship. Now, go treat yourself to some fun between the sheets. But people, generally speaking, do what other people do, not so much what they say, although a lot of people listen to what you say as well. And then they find out that you're 40 plus years old, Jana, when they do a little research on you, or if they've been reading your columns and living the same life that you're telling them to live. And why shouldn't they? Even if they're your age, because, hey, it's working for Jana. It'll work for me. And then they realize, oh, no, it's not going to work. And I have no time left, and now I'm stuck with these cats, and I'll never have kids. Oh, well, thank you, Jana. Thank you for destroying the lives of countless women in Australia and elsewhere because your drivel gets published on a global scale. Okay, and there's, Jana, what you're going to become, ladies. Romanticizing the cat box wine lifestyle, sucking down booze all the time to cope, living a very unhealthy life, ensuring that she's going to age very badly thanks to all the booze and the boxed wine. Oh, and she's going to continue to get ever lower quality dudes as her looks go at a faster rate thanks to all this cope from the booze and possibly drugs that she's doing. And, she'll just get more and more miserable and publish more and more articles to cope and put some money into her pocket, because that's all that matters, right? Materialistic things, Jana. Meanwhile, all you chicks out there don't have those same options to cope, and you're going to be even more miserable than Jana. Great. So there you go. There you go. Jana Hawking, whatever. Gaslighting herself, and you chicks out there into believing that you can find some kind of fulfillment and happiness chasing the dragon. So let me know what you think of Jana Hawking and her brilliant expert dating advice in the comments section. And please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. On YouTube, I am the Bachelor Philosopher. And on alt tech platforms, I am the Realist Philosopher. You can find those alt tech platforms at the top of the page. Go find me there. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Give me a like. Hit that notification bell. Because YouTube's not going to notify you unless you do. And even then, they might not. But it's a heck of a lot more likely if you do hit that notification bell than if you don't, that you'll get notified, and leave a comment. It's good for the algorithm. And on that note, I am out of here. I am the Bachelor Philosopher, also known as the Realist, and I wish you all a good and pleasant day. Take care.